Okay, Kevin McWhorter here. We're going to go ahead and get started. The first item on our agenda will be the approval of the agenda. Everybody should have received their packet. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Tadana, motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Shannon, I'll second.
We have a motion by Tadana, a second by Shannon. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Pose same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. We do not have any public comment today. We'll go right to the minutes of the April 21st meeting. Again, this information was in your packet. I thank the director for the information. And is there a motion to approve as presented?
Is now exiting.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
It's Shannon, I will move to approve.
I have a motion by Shannon. Thank you. Is there a second?
Lauren seconds.
Lauren. Thank you, Lauren. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda will be the unfinished business. We have the final March 2020 finance report and bills. I can tell you that I looked through those and I will give the report. And the report is to accept. The total amount was $763,770.04. Are there any questions or discussions regarding the final March finance report? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve? Motion, please.
This is Axel. Motion to approve.
Thank you, Axel. Is there a second?
This is Donna D. I second. Donna.
We have a motion by Axel and a second by Donna. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Under new business, 6A, a proposed exterior mural at the Maya Angelou Northeast Branch. I believe we have a guest speaker.
We do. Kyle Ellison should be on the meeting with us. Kyle is with Real Men, Real Heroes. In your packet, you received a report that included a proposal from Real Men, Real Heroes for the addition of a youth-created mural to the 21st Street exposure of the Maya Angelou Northeast Branch. And you can kind of see a mock-up that would include almost all of that brick and stone wall. So Kyle, let me first turn it over to you and see if there's anything that you would like to say about that.
Awesome. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. First off, thank you all for your time and allowing me to join you guys today, and hope everyone is staying safe. In regards to the proposal, you'll notice on there that, again, as it was just stated, that we definitely wanted to make sure that we paid homage to the library itself, and especially Maya Angelou. One big thing for us at Real Men, Real Heroes is just making sure that if you're not familiar with our mission, it's the basis of it is that we empower youth to help build strong communities. And one thing that we felt could definitely help do that isn't just the painting of the library, but actually having young people do it, something they can be proud of, as well as bring pride to the community and help attract obviously more people to attend the libraries and have events out there and things of that nature. I'll add that one way this came about, we do have the support of the Councilman Brandon Johnson. It's in a proposal, but just to reiterate, all expenses will be taken care of by Real Men, Real Heroes. And we have the luxury of receiving some grant funding from the CDBG grant from City of Wichita, as well as the Evergy Investment Fund. And again, both of those things were one about empowering young people to participate in projects that help build up the community, and then again, giving the community something to be proud of. In addition to that, the only thing that I wanted to bring your attention to is that the timeline, obviously due to COVID, it kind of threw some things off a little bit for us. So I just wanted to express to you that we would have to adjust our timeline a bit. If we, gained your approval, we would actually be starting close to July 1st and extend it through August 31st.
Thanks, Kyle. If I could just add a couple of things, and then we can turn it over to you for questions. One, just for the clarification of the board, and for Kyle, there was a request to store paint and supplies at the branch. We don't have that storage space in the building. So if we proceed, one of the things that we would need to do would be to make other arrangements for that. Also, as noted in the report itself, the library board would not be the final authority on this decision. It would need to also involve the design council and potentially the planning department, because the property is part of a community unit plan. And I would need to defer to Randy Johnston to explain what that means. And then just the last thing for your consideration also is the need for a plan for maintaining the mural, because that would not be anything that is currently in the library budget.
Absolutely. And on that last note, I can already answer that. The mural will be maintained on our end and with the artists. We obviously want to have kids do see the I guess proposed image that we're wanting to do, but it is under the guidance of a Wichita artist, an artist from Wichita named Eric Nkana, and he has done lots of exhibits and shows around Wichita, but also right now kind of travels back and forth between here and California doing his thing. So he has committed to also helping with the maintenance and keeping it looking of quality, because that would be very important. So I just want to address that part. Thank you.
I don't know if Randy has comments he'd like to make.
Randy, are you with us?
Yes, I am, and I have a copy of the community unit plan in front of me. Back in about 1993, when this several parcels up there between Hillside and Carmen Drive and 21st on the north and Shady Brook on the south was redeveloped and platted. They put a called Shady Brook Commercial Community Unit Plan in place that was approved by the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission. This was 1993. So as it looks to me, a mural on that building would probably be prohibited under the general provisions, which red brick shall be used as a prominent manner in the exterior design for all parcels on building elevations. So what the city has provisions for making amendments and adjustments, but as it sits today, it would probably be prohibited.
Thank you, Randy. Does anybody have any questions for Randy?
Yes.
So the painting, is the painting on brick a reversible thing that can?
Lamont.
No?
Is now
I
exiting.
don't know the answer to that. Kyle, the question was, or anybody else who knows, is painting on brick reversible?
That would definitely not be something that's not my expertise. But I imagine in order to do it, I mean, I'm sure, I guess it could be undone, like the bricks could be running and whatnot, but I'd imagine it's probably quite a task.
I would imagine so as well. This is Kevin McWhorter, board member. Under the circumstances, in light of the fact that Randy Johnston, board member, has indicated that it might likely not be allowed, I don't think it would be
Unknown
appropriate.
participant is now joining.
I don't think it would be appropriate to take action one way or another at this time.
This is Tadana.
Sure. Yes, Tadana.
I was just getting ready to say something along the lines of what you just said, but more like, can we explore what the Shady Brook Community Unit Plan says in a more in-depth manner, so we can maybe come back to the drawing board to see the feasibility of a mural on the outside. Yeah, like you said, a continuing conversation, but in the manner of how can we get it to go, if at all possible.
So what would that plan of getting more information look like, and who would get that information to us?
I think Lamont and I could work with the planning committee to really talk about the ins and outs of what it would take to put a mural on the outside of Maya Angelou, and then see where we're at after that conversation.
Yeah, I would concur with that assessment. I think going to the committee and certainly taking this conversation immediately to Councilman Johnson, and forgive me if some of this has been repeated because I was having troubles getting in, but immediately getting this conversation escalated to him and seeing what he can do in terms of facilitating and expediting that conversation to where we can maybe get this amended and modified to where we could get that on there, because I know that getting this mural on the side of Maya Angelou to making it to be more inclusive to the Black community has been a conversation that we've had for a number of years now. So, and I think that most in the community would be receptive to that. And I know that Councilman Johnson would be exhausting all opportunities to look at making it to where we could get that mural on the side of Maya Angelou.
I do have a copy of the unit plan also with the information, so I can get that to Lamont and to Donna. Kyle, for your purpose, I know you were hoping to do that this summer. With these things, do you have the ability to defer this for a period of time? And if so, what would that be?
Yeah, let me think. I'm thinking about from a funding standpoint, well, I'll say I believe anything is possible. It's very important to us, and also those who have what I want to say committed to funding the project. So I believe that if these were some barriers that we have to face, I believe they would be very understanding to allowing us to postpone progress and allow us to utilize the funding at a later date. I don't think that would be a problem at all.
Okay. Kevin McWhorter, board member. In light of the conversation, I am going to authorize Lamont and Tadana to take this over and get back with us when all these questions are answered. Kyle?
We will make it so.
Kyle, thank you very much for your presentation. I think unless you have any other questions, we will go on to the next item on our agenda.
This is Lauren. I do have a question.
Lauren has a question. Go ahead.
I'm just curious if there's anything else about this that we need to discuss so that we're in a position to approve it if that's, the board's wish at the very next meeting. Is there anything else we need to cover so that it's nice out when they want to start painting?
Open question for anybody that wants to comment on this.
Well, I think once it's worked out with the Planning Commission in regard to the community unit plan, then if the board is supportive, you would direct staff to present it or to work with Real Men, Real Heroes to present it to the Design Council. And ultimately, I don't know that they have the final say because they are consultants, but you would need, kind of their support as well. So it's not a matter of starting immediately after the next meeting. There would still be additional reviews.
Other comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none, thank you for your participation. Kyle, thank you for coming to visit us today. We appreciate you.
No problem at all. Thank y'all for having me, and I look forward to future conversations. So I'm sure we'll be in touch. Y'all have a great day.
Kyle, before you disconnect, Kyle.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Lamont Anderson, sir. We will expeditiously get in touch with you. You will have an email from Tadana and myself this afternoon. We'll get everything looped in, so we'll have everything working in real time, and so we'll be pushing. So be looking for that email from us.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is 6B, the election of officers for the next year. We do have a nominating committee. Is someone on the nominating committee looking to make a report, or do you wish for me to read it?
Would you like to make? You go ahead.
Yeah, that'd be great, Kevin.
All right, thank you. We appreciate the efforts of the nominating committee. Committee has brought forth the following for the slate of officers for the 2020-21 board year. President Kevin McWhorter, First Vice President Lamont Anderson, Second Vice President Tadana Neal, Secretary Jonathan Winkler, Treasurer Jennifer Goheen, and Assistant Secretary Treasurer Cynthia Berner. That is the nominating committee's report. Is there a motion to approve as presented?
Who is the second treasurer?
Cynthia.
I make a motion to approve.
It's a committee report, so it's a committee motion.
Oh, committee motion does not require a second. Thank you. So we have a motion. All in favor? Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank
The
you.
April finance report and bills. I have looked through these. I found nothing that required comment or questions. Is there any board member that has any comments or questions regarding the April finance report and bills? Committee report.
Yeah.
Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
This is
Lamont
Shannon.
Anderson makes a motion.
We have a motion by Shannon.
I think Lamont beat me to it, or somebody did.
Okay, Lamont. We have a motion by Lamont. Do we need a second?
Second by Shannon. Yeah.
Second by Shannon. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is 6D. This is the proposed changes to library policies. And I believe Jonathan is going to give us a brief report.
Your packet has the details. These are incremental changes and were previously on the agenda in March. They did not get adopted because the meeting was canceled. We have name changes in a couple of policies. And some changes to circulation parameters.
Very good. Thank you, Jonathan. Does anybody have any questions for Jonathan or the committee? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve 6D items 1 through 7 in its entirety.
I so move.
We have a motion by Jonathan.
This is Donna, second.
We have a second by
Donna.
Donna, sorry. Motion by Jonathan, second by Donna. Is there any discussion? First, thank you for your work. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Pose same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Next on the agenda is item number 7, standing committee reports.
I would just ask Randy if you would like to say anything about your visit here last Friday and the upcoming work on Sycamore Street.
Sure. The city's got plans to completely revise Sycamore from the roundabout up to McLean. We're going to widen it in spots to add parking on both sides of the street. We're going to do some additional sidewalks that'll go from Douglas up to McLean. And a part of that new development on Sycamore will include some adjustments to the very east portion of our property, which will include a bus stop, which will be southbound. Is that right, Cynthia?
Yes.
We'll include a
bus.
So they met with us, Cynthia and I met with Paul Gunselman with the city. They kind of gave us the plan. It will kind of require some new concrete work, and they're very concerned about trying to match our stained and brushed concrete out there, and it's proposed that they go back with a standard concrete finish, which would be out by the curb, and that would run north to south up to about planning. Also, they have a location for Big Red sculpture, which we've talked about putting it out in front there on the east lawn.
Thank you, Randy. Any questions for Randy? Are there any other standing committee reports? Lamont, is there anything you want to report?
No, sir, nothing at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan, anything you want to report?
No.
Very good. I have one other item before we go on to the special committee reports, and that is with the pandemic issue, we had stopped at the request of the manager the process for signing the lease for the Linwood relocation. Since, or in the past few days, I've had the opportunity to speak with a majority of the city council members individually, and so far there is no pushback on not making this happen. So I feel very securely that the city council will take action to go ahead and authorize signatures for the lease in the near future, and we'll get this moving forward. It's not going to get hung up on budgetary issues or anything like that. The rest of the 2019 branch study that we went through great detail on the last 12 months is likely to be put on hold temporarily until the manager and the city council has a better grasp on the issues going forward. So that's what I know. And if there's any questions about the Linwood project, I'm here to answer them. Thank you. Hearing none, we'll go to special committee reports. The special committee reports are the last 3 pages of the packet, so you can read them at your leisure. And if there's any questions, just let committee chair know. And next will be item number 9, the Director of Library report.
I have just a couple of things I want to share with you today. The first is just an update on where we are with restoring our services. As of today, we have the first 2 groups of our staff that were on furlough back on duty. We have opened up the ability for customers to place new hold requests on materials, and they are receiving those through curbside or window service. We will recall the rest of our staff over the weekend. And at this point, we anticipate opening buildings for limited public access starting on Tuesday, the 26th. That's a week from today. That is very limited service. It is access to a reduced number of public computers, Wi-Fi service, copying, faxing, picking up holds and specific titles. It is no direct contact with materials collections. That means anything somebody wants has to be staff mediated, given to them. In this advanced learning library, all of our pavilions will actually be closed to the public. Our staff is downstairs moving computers into the conference center, and we'll be turning that into the computing center. And then we'll be using the gallery area on the first floor as the place for people to do their material pickups. Weather permitting, the terrace will be available for that to happen. We will Monday through Saturday make the first hour of service limited for vulnerable populations, for folks who need that special care when they get in. And so we're working diligently to make that happen. Our staff is doing yeoman's work trying to put that together. And we are definitely on the early edge of public libraries opening buildings up in some way for the community. Our phase plan takes us clear into August before we look at restoring all of our services, perhaps even longer than that. The other thing I want to make you aware of in the short term is that all departments were, if somebody is, if you aren't on mute, you may want to do that to make it easier for people to hear. Thank you. All city departments have been asked to look at budgets, as you know, along with the economic downturn that does impact revenue streams for municipal government, particularly through things like sales taxes. So for those of us who are funded by the city general fund, that's particularly critical. We were asked to turn in a 5% budget reduction scenario for the current year, and then considering what that would be for out years. That is approximately $482,000, which is a large gap for us to try and anticipate. So we did turn in a plan, and 200,000 of that would be achieved through savings that we have already incurred through the employee furloughs. We did have some employees who chose to go into without pay and to do other options, unemployment or other things. Everybody who wanted to stay in pay status had an opportunity to do that through a city shared leave program, but not everybody chose to do that. We are implementing hiring freezes and deferrals of appointments. We have identified a couple of places in the organization where we might do some reorganizing, and ultimately that does impact our authorized employee count as we go through. And if necessary, we are prepared to look at one additional furlough day for all employees in the fourth quarter of the year, probably on the day before Thanksgiving. We did that previously. And then in addition to that, we identified opportunities to reduce our material spending by $100,000. That does have some impact, definitely for our customers and for our collection, but that would be the second tier. Another thing that we have looked at is, at this point, hoping to move forward with Linwood, but deferring the opening until early 2021. The fact that we've been unable to take the lease agreement to the council yet kind of moves that timeline back anyway. So we get a limited number of savings this year. We then have to identify how we'll cover that extra cost in the future years. And then finally, to balance that out, we were still short $182,000. And to find that, we effectively have to defer almost all material spending from the general fund. That means we would be relying on grant funds, the endowment distributions from our library foundation, gifts from the Friends of the Library. And as you can imagine, that really makes an impact on our customers and our collection. But that's how we, at this point, look at getting to that target if we have to fully implement it. One of the things the city council will do next week is to have their first workshop on the budget. We don't anticipate that every department does the full amount, that there are things that will happen to go through. One other thing related to that I wanted to make you aware of today, and it does relate to when I was talking about hiring freezes, deferrals, and things. I actually have been in conversation with President McWhorter and City Manager Layton for a period of time now about a plan for retirement later this year. And I intend to go ahead and do that. But as I'm thinking through that, I don't have a definite time yet, but I did build some cases around a deferral of an appointment of a new department director into that budget scenario. So the task of hiring a department director happens jointly. In my case, between the library board and the city manager. That's a unique situation. The city manager does it for all of the other departments to go through, or in some cases, the city county departments, it's county manager, city manager. But I did want you to be aware of that in case that comes out in the conversation in the budget workshop next week. So more to come on that. Kevin and city manager Layton and I have had a couple conversations about how we can start that process, and we'll go ahead and be moving forward with that. And that was everything on my list, unless you have questions for me about the state of library service.
One question.
If you're going to start on
If we're forced to stop all spending on materials from the general fund, what does that do to hold back logging for new books?
It extends the hold queue significantly for the most popular items of all formats, not just books, but also movies in particular. Those might be about the only things that we end up purchasing, but we would do it at much smaller quantities than we would do if we were fully funded.
Are
we talking about doubling, or
I think it
reducing it by?
It depends on the particular item to go through, and it depends on how deeply we might have to do budget cuts. If you think about our budget, over 75% of our department budget goes to people, our salaries and benefits. We also then have a significant portion of the budget, which are fixed expenses related to building operations and the technology that we have in our buildings, where we actually pay our IT department for that. So our discretionary funding comes down to things like office supplies and our materials collection. I hope we don't have to do either one of these cuts. I hope we don't have to do any of the cuts, quite honestly. We never want to do that. But our materials spending is already next to bottom among all of our peer libraries. And so this would be a devastating impact for our customers, but it comes down to making further reductions in our branch system, which we've previously identified would not be in the best interests of the community, or working with the material. So it's a difficult choice, and much more difficult for the members of the city council than it is for us. So we wish them well.
Question, Kevin McWhorter here. The last set of numbers that you had regarding this item, what was that range?
The
Unknown participant is now exiting.
For materials or for the 5%?
The materials.
We put it into two different tiers. The first tier was $100,000. The second tier was $182,000. So it's basically $282,000 out of $727,000 if you do that math.
Okay. very significant issue here. Any other questions for Director Berner? Aside from the fact that we're going to tie her to the table and not let her retire?
You need savings. You need me not to work.
Regarding that issue, yes, the manager and I have had a conversation or two. He is involved in this process with us. And I think some might ask, would he just give us that responsibility? The answer is no. So it is my anticipation that as we get a little bit further into this process, I will be contacting 2 or 3 of the board members to inquire as to whether or not they would want to serve with me on a committee, because I do not want or believe I should be the only responsible voice from the board. So not sure how that works out yet or when that timing is, but that's my plan. On the second item, on the cuts, in light of the fact that I do serve on the foundation committee as well, I want to let you know that I have a feeling that before this type of cut would be made to materials, the Library Foundation Board would want to have a conversation about that. I feel very strongly about that. There are some assets out there. I know that there's ways that we do things, but when you get into emergency situations, we all sit down at the table and we have frank conversations. And if it does get to that point, I want to assure you that I will bring that up. Any other comments? Okay, thank you, Director Berner. Are there any announcements? Hearing none, next on our agenda is adjournment. I appreciate your time. I know that the Zoom is effective, but not necessarily efficient, and I don't like it a bit, and I can't wait to see your faces here at the board table in the near future, and hopefully, if not next month, the month after.
Not next month,
Not
so
next
probably
month, but
July.
the July board meeting, hopefully we'll be able to all get together again. So with that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much and have a great day.